Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Today, we're going to talk about healthy breakfast options. I am Stacy Hendry, here with my colleague Daryl Moss today, and we are Synergy 3. And our mission is to promote vibrant health through group wellness programs that are focused on the mind, body, and spirit. So many people, when they're adopting a healthier eating plan, really struggle to figure out what's a good breakfast option. If you're used to bagels and cereals and things like that that are mostly bready, figuring out a healthier option is tough. So today I want to talk about oatmeal, which really has a lot of benefits. It's super simple and it's nutritious and delicious. So today I want to talk about the different types of oatmeal. But what I want to tell you about oatmeal is it is a lower carbohydrate food. So that's great because carbs just translate to sugar. So a lower carb option like oatmeal is a great choice. The other thing is it does have protein. It is high in minerals and it is high in fiber, which is really great for like lowering cholesterol and also for weight loss. You just need to have fiber in your diet. So those are the reasons why oats are so good. So often people are wondering what the different types of oatmeal are. Today here I have steel cut oats, I have old fashioned oats, and then there are instant oats. So I'm going to explain the differences. Oatmeal starts as oats, oat groats, and then it's processed to make these products. The most minimal processing is steel cut oats. So this is Trader Joe's brand of steel cut oats. And then the steel cut oats are heated a little and they're flattened to make more of the old fashioned or rolled oats. So that's this. If you look at it, it's more of a flake. And then the next thing, the old-fashioned oats are cooked a little bit and then dried to reduce the cooking time. And that's how you get instant oats. And the beauty is with instant oats, you just add water and it's ready. So it's a quicker option, but it is somewhat processed. So the least processed is the steel cut oats. And then the most processed would be the instant oats. All of them healthy, and it depends on what's going on in your day. So the steel cut oats take 15 to 30 minutes to boil, but you can cook it in a crock pot. And what I like to do is do it overnight. So what I do is boil the water, and it's a 4-to-1 ratio. So if you're making one serving, you would boil 2 cups of water and a half a cup of steel cut oats. So I did this last night. Grab it. So in my pot here, I put the 2 cups of water and I bring it to a boil. As soon as it boils, I pour in the half a cup of steel cut oats, put the cover on and remove it from the heat. And I just leave it there overnight. In the morning, it's ready to go. So if you just make one serving, you just turn the heat on and warm it up. If you make more than one serving, I like to take out what I'm not going to eat that day, put it in the refrigerator. It lasts a couple of days, so I have a couple breakfasts. And then I heat up what's left in the pot just for that day. So that I find to be super easy. So I just heated this, and I would add it to my bowl. Now, that's what I really like about steel cut. I find it really convenient. It also is, if you can see, it's more of it has more texture and it's more chewy. So it's a little bit of a different consistency than like the old-fashioned oats. Now, old-fashioned oats, you boil up some water, add the oats, and it cooks in 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how you like it. And it's more of a creamy consistency. So it depends on what you like. So once I have whatever I choose, my oatmeal, my steel cut, my old fashioned, or the instant, then I can add toppings. So nice things to add are chia seeds. These are organic chia seeds, and chia has calcium. It expands, so it keeps you full longer. Has protein, and you can sprinkle it in your oatmeal. I also like to add flax, and flax is healthy fats. High fiber also does lower cholesterol. The thing is that you need to grind it. So I buy it whole, and then I use, oh, 1 second, I use my coffee bean grinder to grind it up. So I put a couple tablespoons in here. I ground it up. So it's like a powder now, and I can sprinkle some on my oatmeal. So that adds a nutty flavor. It adds some healthy fats, cholesterol lowering abilities. And then you can add whatever you like. Here I have some organic strawberries. Berries are lower on the sugar scale than like a banana, say. So they're great to add. So, and they are important to buy organic because they're highly sprayed with pesticides. So I have some organic strawberries here I'll add. Apples too are important to buy organic. So I have chopped up about a quarter of this apple. I'm just going to add that to my bowl. So that'll give it a little bit of sweetness, a fruity flavor, makes it tasty to me. And then I like to add nuts and seeds. These are pumpkin seeds. Most nuts are superfoods. They have healthy oils, they have protein. They are just higher in calories, so you have to use moderation. You don't want to eat bags and bags of nuts. You want to put, a quarter of a cup. So I could sprinkle some pumpkin seeds. I also have here sunflower seeds and walnuts. Now, walnuts also are a superfood. So I would take a couple of, handful of walnuts, and I break them up because they're a little large, and just sprinkle them in my bowl. The other thing I like to put is cinnamon. It's a warming spice. It helps with weight loss. Also makes things taste good. So you can sprinkle a little cinnamon on here. This time of year, everybody's into pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice. You can put some pumpkin pie seasoning on your bowl. If you like nutmeg, you can even put cardamom, which is more of a Indian type of spice, but it does give an interesting flavor. So you can play around with it and add whatever spice you like. If you do, sometimes a touch of sea salt will help bring out the flavor. So you don't need the sugar. It does help a little bit. But if you really do need a touch of sweetness, you can add a tiny bit of pure maple syrup or honey. And those are sugars, but they're natural sugars. They have a lot of health benefits. And in moderation, they're a good choice. I wouldn't add brown sugar or white sugar because those are not good products. But the pure maple syrup or good quality honey, local honey, are good choices to sweeten it. And I would say, a drizzle of it over the top. So the other thing that's I wanted to mention about oats is that oats are gluten-free. So most people don't do well with gluten products. So oats are a gluten-free product, which is great. And also if you're using, if you need a gluten-free flour for baking, you can just take your old-fashioned oats and put them in a blender and grind them up into a flour. And you could use them to flour chicken, or in a baking mixture where you need gluten-free flour, you could use the oats. So it's very handy because you just have it on hand. You don't have to buy a bag of oat flour. You can just use your oats and put them in the blender. So the other thing I did want to mention is that oats don't have any gluten, but they're often processed in facilities that process gluten. So if you are somebody who is gluten sensitive with a real allergy where you would not be able to tolerate it at all, then you can look for oats that say gluten-free. And that really just means it's processed in a facility that is 100% gluten-free, so there won't be any cross-contamination. So the last thing I wanted to mention is I have made these oat cupcakes, oat muffins, I call them. So you can use the oats to make a nice little muffin, and then those are handy grab and go food and 100% gluten-free. So those are a good option as well. So if you're interested in having that recipe, we would love you to email us at thesynergy3@gmail.com. So I am going to pass it on to my lovely colleague, Daryl, who's going to show us overnight oats and explain a little bit about how to make those.
Thank you, Stacy. So I make overnight oats in mason jars, which are such great tools for everybody to have in their kitchen. So today I'm only going to make one serving, but if you're making overnight oats, they just like regular oatmeal, they last in the refrigerator for several days. So I would suggest making a few because they're great for grab and go breakfasts. So I'm going to for these overnight oats, I use whole rolled oats. So this is one step removed from the steel cut that Stacy was talking about. So I put these in the mason jar. So this is about 1/3 of a cup. And I do not use dairy products. So this is oat milk, but you can use any non-dairy milk, or if you do use dairy products, regular milk. So you could use almond milk, coconut milk. I happen to have oat milk in the house, just coincidentally. So I'm using oat milk. And I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. So Stacy told you all about them. They're also a great source of omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3s are essential fatty acids, meaning that our bodies don't make them. We need to get them from somewhere else. So a lot of us get our omega-3s from fish or taking a supplement, which is made from fish or fish oils. But if you're vegan, you can't do that. And chia seeds are vegan and they are a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. So I'm going to add these. I'm going to add a touch of cinnamon. Cinnamon is also, it's been shown to be really helpful in lowering blood sugar. So if you've got a blood sugar issue, adding a little cinnamon to your coffee or to oatmeal or to other things is, aside from the taste, you're boosting your health. And then I add a little bit of fruit. So I either, if I have ripe bananas, I'll add about 1/3 of a banana and I'll mush it up. But this isn't really ripe enough to mush the yellow. When they're really yellow, they don't mush up very well. So instead, I'm going to add some blueberries. So I love blueberries. Number one, as Stacy said, they're really low on the glycemic index. They're naturally sweet without a lot of sugar, but they're also really good for brain health. And as we're getting older, it's so important to boost our brain health. And what I do is I mix it up really well. And then I cover and I put it in the refrigerator overnight. So this doesn't look like it's that much food because it's only half full, but tomorrow when I take this out of the refrigerator, I'm going to add lots of other goodies. So one of the, when you buy mason jars or bell jars, they generally come with a metal top and they don't last very long because they start to rust. So I do suggest that you buy these white tops. You can get them online and they last a really long time. So tomorrow, when I take this out of the refrigerator, I'm going to have a selection of other things that I could put on top. So I might, if the banana's ripe, I might add a little bit of chopped banana. Right now, apples are coming into season and we really like to eat seasonally. So I'm going to add some chopped apples. I'm also going to add some hemp hearts. Hemp is a complete protein. So for those of us who are vegan or vegetarian or who primarily eat a plant-based diet, it's really important that we get enough protein into our meals. Oatmeal has protein in it, but it's not a complete protein, and hemp is, meaning it has all the amino acids that you would find in animal food. Certainly not to the same extent, but at least you get a little bit of all of them. So it's always a great addition. I'd like to add some unsweetened coconut flakes because I happen to love the flavor. And then I have the same kind of things that Stacy talked about. I could add some sunflower seeds. Pumpkin seeds are a great source of zinc, and zinc is so important to boosting our immune health. And COVID is still here. We're coming into the cold and flu season. So the more that we can boost our health, the better. And I love walnuts. Again, a great source of omega-3s. Also really good for brain health. So I'm not going to add all of the nuts and seeds. This is just a selection. Use what you have in your house. If you have pecans, you could add some chopped pecans or chopped almonds, but you don't need a lot. Quarter cup is a serving of nuts. Or I could add some almond butter or some peanut butter, but again, not a lot of it. So you have to use what you like, and then you just mix it up, and it's such an easy and delicious meal. A wonderful breakfast to have, and a huge popular treat in our house, especially pre-COVID when people were running in and out and didn't have time to sit down and have breakfast at the table in the morning. So those are our suggestions. And for people who are really watching their weight, you might want to skip the nut butter and add more lower glycemic fruits, add strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, etc., rather than the higher glycemic fruits. So thanks for joining us, and we're happy to open this up and answer any questions. So if you have a question, you can unmute, and if not.
Before we take questions, I just want to say that these episodes go on our YouTube channel, so you could always watch this again and any past episodes. And also, we are running our Slim Possible Weight Loss Challenge right now, and the next start date is October 4th. And that is a 9-week program where we really focus on adopting healthy habits, and the benefit is better health and optimal weight. So if you're interested in finding out more about any of those, please contact us. And now we'll go to questions.
Yeah, I have a question.
Hi, Helen.
So this morning I made oatmeal, but I made like a cup of oatmeal. Is that too much? Should I just I did feel like it was a little too much oatmeal. So should I have just cooked like a half a cup?
So it's good to cook the whole cup, but I would say to split that into 2 servings.
Okay.
Was it 1 cup raw?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is a lot, but it, really it depends on the individual. If you're going to be busy, you're going to have a late lunch, if you need the extra food. If you feel like, wow, this is way too much, then it is for you. But each person is different activity level. So I think the serving is more approximately a half a cup.
And with adding in like a fruit, seeds, things like that, can you give me like a rough idea what is the total calories of that, meal, like what it could be at? Just wanted to get an idea.
Well, it really depends on what you're using, so it's hard to.
Yeah. So like if I this morning, let's say all I did was fruit. I did 5 strawberries. I did less than a quarter cup of almond slices, and that was it. And then I had my protein powder and that stuff. I mean, you can add some for that. But like, what would that have come in at about? Just a rough idea.
Somewhere in the ballpark of 400, but I can give you a more detailed answer.
Yeah. And I did it with a cup of oatmeal, so it's probably even more. It might be more.
I know you're doing our weight loss challenge right now, and in the guide, the oatmeal recipe has the calorie information based on what's in that recipe. So you have to see if you added more or less of anything, just to get a ballpark. But
oatmeal always scares me because I feel like if I eat too much of it, it's like too many calories. So I always get scared of oatmeal. Yeah,
well, it is a lower carb option, and it does keep you full, and it's a healthy food. We are not a big calorie counting mentality. We just say to eat healthy food, and that usually helps. So most people, if they have weight issues, it's not because they ate too much oatmeal. It's more like
Okay.
too much
Other stuff, yeah.
less
Um,
healthy options.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
glad you mentioned the protein powder, because Daryl mentioned adding hemp hearts, which is a complete protein. But if you have a protein powder, that's also an option. And then it would flavor the oatmeal, either vanilla, chocolate, whatever your flavor is. So that's another option for getting some protein into your oatmeal.
So if I'm using the protein powder, I can probably skip out on the hemp hearts then, right? Is there just going to be too
Oh.
much protein or?
Well, it also depends on what the serving size is. If the protein is a scoop and you're using half a scoop because that's enough for your oatmeal, then you can throw some hemp in there as well.
Yeah, I think I did like just a scoop of the protein and I only did 1 tablespoon of the hemp hearts also. That's how I
Right, and I
ended up
think the
doing.
serving is 2 scoops, so you still,
Yeah,
it depends on, over the course of the day, your protein amount is what you're looking at.
Right.
So,
okay.
yeah.
And one thing to think about is when you are using all that fiber, you need to make sure you're drinking enough water during the day as well.
Okay.
Because you need to stay hydrated to be able
Yeah.
to flush everything through, because otherwise you can end up having the opposite effect and it can be blocking.
Okay. And then as far as all these different seeds and things, like you would put maybe 2 of the seeds, not necessarily like 3 or 4 of them in there, right? These are just different different things to keep in mind. 1 seed.
Yeah, so go ahead, Stacey.
I would say, Daryl mentioned a quarter cup is a good amount. So if you're putting
Okay.
5 different things, it should total a quarter cup. If you're just picking one, then you could put a quarter cup of the whole thing. It really depends on what your goal is with weight, because the seeds do add up. So if you're looking to
Yeah.
bring your weight down quicker, you may want to reduce that a little bit. If you're looking to gain weight, then that's a good healthy option rather than eating candy.
Got it. Okay. That sounds good. I think I got all my questions answered. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Great questions. I mean, one thing is that people can eat oatmeal the oatmeal doesn't have to be topped with all these other things. We're presenting options to make it more interesting.
Yeah.
And if you need to get protein, if you're not having any other protein at breakfast, and that's why we're talking about adding some of the seeds that have protein, a little bit more protein than the oatmeal has on its own, but they're all optional.
Okay.
I'm going to eat this for lunch right now because it's all ready. So it's not just a breakfast food. It's an option for late at night if you had to eat an early dinner, and then at maybe 8 o'clock you need a lighter thing. So
What about vegetables though? Like, so normally lunch, dinner, I always think, make sure I have vegetables with my meal. So like, what would you do? And I'm thinking of the calories too. If it's a little bit high, I know you guys don't count, but I'm still going to probably think a little bit about that so I don't go too crazy. But like, if you had that for lunch, would you have like a little bit of vegetable on the side or like another fruit, or not necessarily? Like,
so something like a baked sweet potato that you have left over, you can certainly take some of that and either slice it or stir it in with the oatmeal. It'll sweeten it, and then you really don't even need the fruit. If you like that flavor, that's an option. I wouldn't tend to put too many vegetables in my oatmeal.
well, I wouldn't put it in it. I'd probably eat it separately if.
Right. So you certainly could have a salad, or make sure you have more vegetables, like a lot of leafy greens in your smoothie that morning if you're having the oatmeal for lunch, and more at dinner. It's like, remember, it's over the course of the day that you're trying to get a lot of vegetables in.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always thinking of like trying to make it even, like every meal. I'm always thinking like, okay, I'm not going to really eat too many vegetables in the morning unless it's a smoothie. Then I have like the lettuce in there with fruit. And then I'm like, lunch, make sure I have a lot of vegetables. Dinner, make sure I have a lot of vegetables.
Right. So in general, it's a good plan to break it up into 3s. But if you can't one day, it's not a problem to have more at the other meals.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for all the questions. Anything else? Any other questions? Next week, we'll be back talking about simple swaps on food items to make more healthy option. So hopefully you'll join us or watch it on YouTube. And have a great day, everyone.
Okay,
Thanks
thank you.
for joining us.
Bye. Take care.